Here we go, episode 143 of the Trash Talk Business Podcast. This is our opportunity every single week to come together to grow, build, and succeed in our junk removal dreams. I'm Andy Weins, owner of Camo Crew Responsible Junk Removal, and today I have a man from the junk removal circles. Basically doesn't need an introduction. He's the man of Google, the myth of SEO, the guy that knows it all, Mr. Lewis Vandervalk. Ready to go from Blue Crocodile Carousel. Mr. Lewis, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Andy. I was on a podcast and we were chatting about how it should just be Blue Crocus Solutions, and then I just go after Crocs.
And that's actually not bad. Yeah, it's like
bring
the Office.
Crocs back, right?
The Office when Jim Halpert would tell people work for Dunder Mifflin.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Do you sell Dunder or muffins or mittens or?" Yeah, you're like, "Yeah, fine, Dunder."
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing well, man. Appreciate the intro. We'll see if we can live up to the hype here.
Well, let's actually, I got a question for you right off the bat. You know things and stuff. January 18th, everything went to shit on our Google ads because Google changed some algorithms. What say you on said topic? Let's get right into the heavy stuff. Right off the bat.
Google ads. Admittedly, we have on and off offered Google ads. We are not currently offering Google ads. I'm not up on what happened specifically January 18th. Well, let me say this: we're not bringing on new clients. We've got a few clients that are being taken care of by the team, but I'm not actively continuing to recruit new clients. SEO is really where I dive in and jam and continually learn.
So does let's talk about that, right? Because a lot of people, and myself included, I'm like, ads, I understand. Like, all right, we have ads and I spend and there's a click and there's a fucking 87 metrics, right? And somehow we get a customer acquisition cost out of it, kind of.
Yeah,
right.
Kind of.
And then SEO is this like mysterious thing where it's like, well, I need it, but I can't qualify it. So let's start from the top. Let's talk about, you were on the show episode 53 almost 2 years ago, April of 23. You were actually 53. So that'd have been first episode of season 2. If we said 52 episodes season. There we go. I mean, math. So let's talk about it. What is it? Let's talk about the difference between SEO and ads and websites. Like, let's break it down for the average person, and then we'll get into the depth of SEO and the changes in junk removal and what do you see in your industry. And I mean, there's not much to talk about with football. We got the Super Bowl nobody wants, Eagles, Chiefs.
Yeah, right. We could.
You're Canadian though. You're Canadian, right? Aren't you Canadian?
I still watch it. Yeah, I'm actually a dual citizen. So I straddle the line just enough to relate to both countries.
If DEI on the Trash Talk Business Podcast was a thing, I've checked the box on having Canadians on the show because we've had like 8 of the last 10 guests have been Canadian.
It's a thing. Yeah, Barry was on here. I haven't checked out who the other Canadians are. I don't know if I would have.
Tons of Canadians. Chuck It. So Chuck It's one of my clients up in Toronto. Chuck It Junk Removal. Nice job, Alistair.
Yeah.
Taylor will probably load up the chat here with all the Canadians we've had on the show. Lots of Canadians. Let's just put it that way. Okay.
Lots of Canadians.
Also, I watched that guy that Leroy behind the camera. He basically walks around Saskatchewan and points out dumb shit. Canadian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
The guy on TikTok, right?
Yeah, I watch him on YouTube, but yeah, it's all the same shit. Like, that's basically what we've exported. And he wears a hockey jersey or a football jersey in all that he does. So anyways.
And he's very Canadian. Yeah.
He's big time. Like, he's beyond a Youper, right? We have Youpers here. So you're dual citizen. How did that happen? Are you from there or here? Or you're
born in the States, so born in New Hampshire. And then we moved up when I was 3. And I think because my dad's, I don't remember how it happened, but I didn't have to do like the citizenship test or anything like that. I think because I came in before I was 18, I inherited it from my dad, who was a dual citizen because his dad was born in Montreal.
All right, there we go. We got to the bottom of that. All right, now let's get back to my original question before I so rudely distracted.
So SEO, yeah. SEO. I just had this analogy pop into my head. I always say that SEO is like an investment. It's like a compound interest investment. But I had an analogy that might stick more in people's minds. Google Ads is like getting sex from a hooker, and SEO is like dating your wife and everything that comes with that.
I mean, the FCC probably doesn't love that analogy. It is memorable, though. Do you want to date a hooker or do you want a lifetime partner? Because, well, apparently, I mean, here's what I don't love about that analogy. You can have both.
Again, I came up with it as we started recording.
Okay.
So you're hearing it here first.
Like the SEO isn't mad that you got Google ads, but in your analogy, the SEO would be very mad that you had Google ads.
I think let's break down the analogy here. So the end game is leads, and that's sex in this analogy, because that makes you happy, right? Leads make you happy, and so if you aren't Google ads, you turn them on, you pay money, and you get leads.
I get the analogy now.
SEO, you have to work, you invest, and you create a reason to earn the spot and the ability to get leads, and then you keep that, like that work that you've put in sticks around. Whereas Google ads, you turn them off and they're gone. SEO, even if you stop doing it for a bit or for a few years, the work that you've done up to that point is good up until that point. You know, your competitors may continue working, they may continue investing, and bypass you. But that's the analogy. I don't know if I'll use that hooker analogy again, but it seemed to work for this one.
I mean, it's like, you know what, your wife still loves you after your divorce, or girlfriend still likes you and loves you. And it's still places in your heart, right? It still works. You stop putting the investment in, right? And you can turn it, and you can get right back to it, and you just pick up where you left off, right?
Sure, maybe we'll go with that.
A rough couple of years, and you just picked it back up. Yes, again, I'm making this work for you, Lewis. You're a happy married man.
I think you're actually breaking it down a little bit here.
Well, I'm recently in a relationship, and I'm like,
oh, that's exciting.
How would this go over in that conversation? Like, hey, and she's
a guy on a podcast told me that.
Yeah, she has I do some, not work with her, but she's also a coach and a mentor. So we talk about this stuff. She puts out a lot of content. This one probably won't make it to her LinkedIn. Like I think
there's a fair chance that it won't. Yeah, it won't make it to my LinkedIn either. But no, so stepping back from the analogy, walking myself back off the plank.
I mean, or dig the hole deeper, depending on where you go here. Yes, go on.
No, I'm walking away from this analogy, but back to the, how can you earn your spot to be there versus how can you pay for your spot to be at the top of Google? That's ultimately the difference between the two, and earning the spot takes a lot longer and a lot more either time investment if you're doing it, or investing in someone to do it. That's you have to earn your way to where you build a trust with Google. You have the questions answered that people are asking, so that when they go online, they are coming to your site because Google knows that you answer the questions, and then they show you up, and then boom, they land on your site. They can easily get in touch with you, all that good stuff.
So what are some of the things that you can do, or what are the entry level guy can do versus, right? We'll go with hey, do these things, and then it becomes time or cost or knowledge prohibitive for you to continue to implement, and then you go to someone like you to make it happen.
So this book here, I think it'll come in backwards. It's called They Ask You Answer.
No, they no, we got it. We can see the living color. Yep.
Backwards for me, but They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan. I'd like to kind of prep people's minds here with his story. So in 2008, his pool company was dying in Vermont. They were just about to go out of business, and he got desperate, and he started writing blog posts to answer the questions that people were asking him over and over on sales calls. One, to make his sales process more efficient, and two, to have things that he could send after he'd been out for a quote, or even before, based on what they had asked in their quote form. And so he started doing that, and it blew his business up. They were the highest ranking pool company in the world at one time, getting quote requests from Australia and all over the place, because he answered people's questions. What's the difference between fiberglass and concrete pools? What's the difference between all of the companies in his area? He would do like rankings of like, this is what this company does well, this is what they do, this is what we do well. So the title is there, They Ask You Answer. What are the questions that your customers have? You get them all the time on the phone, you get them all the time in person. They're asking you these questions like, hey, when are you going to be here? Like, what's the process like? Am I just supposed to wait around twiddling my thumbs, or are you going to give me a call before we get there? So on and so forth, speaking directly to junk removal. And you can answer those in a blog post or a short video. Video is really big now. Blogs are still important, but video can rank, and video is a tool that's there 24/7, 365, answering people's questions when they come to your website. So that like foundational mindset is what you have to come into it with. And then, make sure your website's set up correctly so that Google can read it well. It's fast to load so that people can, get to what they want without, clicking away in frustration. Make sure that, you've got other websites linking back to you. That's a whole topic we can dive into on, how do you get other people to link back to you to basically vote, give your website a vote of confidence. Think of it like a beauty pageant. The person with the most votes is the one that wins. That's your website.
Yep.
And Google's looking at like 200 different factors. It can be your content, it can be your technical profile, it can be your speed of your website, it can be your backlinks, and all of these come together to, hit the checklist or not for what Google's looking for.
And then how do you come in? What is it you do that I'm unable to do, or unwilling to do, or I don't know how to do? So that I'm the hottest chick in the beauty pageant.
It's often a combination of all three, or one of those three things. People don't want to do it, don't know how to do it, or don't have time to do it anymore. We'll do those things. So I am. Can you still see me? I'm frozen on my screen.
You are frozen on my screen too. You can keep talking though.
We'll see if it if it unfreezes here or not.
If Taylor comes in and says something, then I'll filibuster.
There we go. So where was I? Oh yeah. So where do we come in? We do all those things. We help optimize the technical profile of your website. We'll help you rebuild your website if you need. We'll help you write the content on those blogs or those service pages. We'll help you get links back to your website. We'll help you do the work on your Google business profile to help your business profile rank better. All of that is kind of happening on a monthly basis, and we typically sell it on all right, here's the stuff that we're doing, and we're doing this amount every month. And then we'll track the results that are coming through based off of that, and you can decide if you want to keep doing it, keep doing more, or sweet, you're happy with where you are, and you'll ride off into the sunset.
Do you ever do consulting where you teach companies how to do
I have one client that we're kind of training their team how to do this. So they're a bigger company, and they're looking to build an in-house team. So I'm coming in and like teaching their team and monitoring the progress, and our team's doing some to support them as the team learns.
All right, I like that. And do you work exclusively with junk removal companies, or do you work with tons of different companies? Because you're like the junk removal SEO guy.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Junk removal is our biggest niche. It kind of grew out of the fact that we started a junk removal company after we started the agency, but I started in home service. So anything in home service, I'm pretty comfortable with. I grew up in construction, did construction after high school for 4 years. So pretty comfortable with that and can pick it up pretty quickly if it's not something that I've done. But yeah, junk removal is still the majority of our clientele. Plumbing's a big one for us as well. Asphalt paving, we've got, inside asphalt paving, there's line striping, seal coating, etc. We've got a few clients in there as well.
And I say you're the guy because you're very active in our community, right? I'm an advocate for the junk removal industry. I love our community. I stay away from the Facebook pages now. However, Russ Berry somehow finds his way into my fucking newsfeed every week. Like Russ is talking. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like I got no problem. Like I've had Russ on the show. We'll have Russ back on the show. Exactly. I used Russ Berry because like he's the junk removal punching bag, and Russ knows who the fuck he is, right? Love him or hate him.
He does.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's so, but like, yeah, so I still get sucked in. And like, well, like you'll put stuff up. Andrew Thompson with formerly Jedi Junk Removal, who's got his new company. Why can't I think of the name? Autopilot. Yeah, he was on the show like 2 weeks ago. No, and so like within the SEO world, yes, I see those. I used to when I was in the groups more, and I'm a total voyeur in the groups. I rarely comment. And I talked like a year ago. I was like, oh, I never comment on things in the group. And then like a couple of weeks later, there was like, hey, I show a picture of your rig. So I was like, oh, this is a picture of our truck. And like the first person was like, I thought you never comment. I was like, you fucking watch my show too much. Like you. So now I'm back to not commenting. Back to being a total voyeur.
No more double standards.
No, and also someone just changed their name. Was it Sonoma? Was it their?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, they changed their name. Okay, so like I know that, right? I know Matt and JoJo is on their show. I don't know who's talking shit. I don't know who the latest shit talker is. Also, every time I see, actually, I did comment this weekend. Oh, Kevin Weiss with Survivor Junk Removal. He took a picture with a tank. And he's like, how would you quote this? And I go,
Kevin Hess. Yeah, that was
Kevin Hess. Thank you. Kevin Hess, not Weiss. I don't know why I said Weiss. Because I don't remember Autopilot either. I do remember Kevin, he was on the show. Survivor Junk Removal. Love that guy. Great experience. I think he's got a coach, or he's got He's got a
He
course
does. Yeah,
right now.
he's got a really good little training program. So he did it.
Okay, again, I'm not getting paid by you. I don't get paid by Sonoma. As no Sonoma's got another Junk World conference coming up late October. I think 24th, 25th again. It was like the same dates as last year. Like I'll talk about these things because I want this industry to grow. So yes, Kevin Hess, formerly of 800 Got Junk, wicked smart guy. I had him on the show. Knows a lot of shit. He has Survivor junk removal. And he's a guy I would say I would endorse his class merely knowing him and also knowing why he's doing it. He's not the pay me $1,000, $1,200, $10,000, whatever, so I can get you rich quick. He's like, this is important to our industry. Let me teach you how to grow a sustainable business. So shout out to Kevin for being a guest and on the show and be a contributor to the show, but also shout out to Kevin for being an advocate of our industry. And for some people that get shit on, I get shit on. I'm sure Russ Berry gets shit on, right? We know who they are. If anyone shits on Kevin Hess, they gotta look themselves in the mirror, like check themselves with Jesus or something. Like that guy is legit. So I'll throw that. Also, last week I had on Dalton from Ohio, and one of the other listeners hit me up. He's like, I really appreciate how you guys lean into the faith and the Christianity because that's a big deal for me and my company.
Dalton with Gyro Drunk Colors.
Yes, so the people, right? Also, like when you have that purpose, like Kevin does, right, with what he's going through with cancer, when you have the purpose, like your family or your religion or something, beyond the banging jobs and making money, like you'll be sustainable. You'll figure it the fuck out. What I do with the community, what I do with recycling, like that's my jam. Is the recycling is my jam. So, piece of advice for anybody out there: if your why is to make money, the why is never to make money. The what is making money. Figure out what your why is. There's your branding. There's your soapbox talk for the day. You're welcome.
It's a big deal. No, it's you got to know what your why is. Whether it's your kids, your wife, your community, your faith. It all gets pretty old if you don't have some reason to get up at the beginning of the day.
I'm looking who that was. It was Josie. I want to make sure I get his business name right. There he is. Yeah, it was Josie. He was on the show like 2 years ago. Right on junk removal and hauling out of Florida. Josie, he's the one that hit me up. Really appreciate Dalton's podcast. Like that's the thing. Like
I got to check that one out.
Yeah, Josie, Jozie. He was on the show like 2 years ago. It's like a random. He hit me up. Like he'll text me every couple months. Like he's a good dude. And that's the thing. Like that's what I love giving shout outs to guys. I don't care if you're a one truck operation, or we got Casey from Night Guys. I can't remember her name is fucking Brain. Come on, Brain. Casey Walsh. I can't think of his name.
There is a Casey Walsh. I actually can't think of his name, his business name either.
I know. Is it Walsh? It is Walsh. Stand up, guys. Man, I'm so close. Stand up, guys. That's how fast I can LinkedIn shit. All right. Like Casey's got a huge operation, right? He's coming on the show in a couple of weeks. I'm really excited for that because that's like 2-3 years in the making. We just kept missing dates, and now he's coming on the show in a couple of weeks. Like again, so whether you
another fun one, just before we get back on track here, another fun one is Jake Still of Junk Rescue. He's got an awesome operation in New Jersey.
Jake
Still, yeah. He and Casey are friends, actually.
Jake Still, I don't know. Co-farm, CEO. Okay, let me see if I know this guy.
I don't think he does a whole lot in the groups.
No, that's fine. Here, I'm literally going to. This is me in real time on LinkedIn. Lewis from Blue Crocus.
While you're doing that, I'll answer. Taylor put a great question in the comments here. How does a business owner justify the cost put into SEO? What would they generally see in return to those things are working?
That's a hot question. Hot take.
So again, think about SEO as an investment into a relationship or into like a compound interest.
Are we going back to this wife? Let's just stick with the wife analogy. Let's just stay away from the ads.
I got to
away from the ads. You got away from.
I got to laugh about it here at my own expense. But think about it as
away from 3 kids. Remember, you got right.
4 kids. 4 kids. Yeah.
4 kids. There you go. Say, I'm a divorce.
Investments are happening.
Yeah, but exactly. Make investments. Make choices.
Yeah, definitely investments happening. But how does a business owner justify that? You have to go into SEO whether you're doing it yourself or because it's going to take time, and your time costs something, or your team's time costs something. So there's going to be an investment either way. There's going to be an investment to learn the process yourself. It's not rocket science. I'd be happy to teach you what I know, but it's going to cost you some time and some money either way, and it's not going to happen overnight. So as you're going, And as you're doing it, you need to be looking at and tracking where your leads are coming from, track your keywords that you're ranking for, track, what leads or what keywords brought in what leads. And if you do that over time and you do your SEO well, you're going to see things going up and to the right, whether it's in your keyword rankings, your traffic on your website, the clicks to your website, the conversions. That's where things are going. And what you're going to see is over time, if you're paying an agency, your cost per lead actually goes down. Whereas with ads, it tends to go up over time. Your cost per lead with a SEO agency, you can spend the same amount per month to have someone do the work that like we do as an agency. And then you're going to keep getting more and more leads coming in. So cost per lead, again, it's going to be much more expensive than Google Ads at the beginning per lead if you calculate it that way. But as it goes along, your cost per lead continues to go down to where it becomes fraction of a cost of what it would be coming off of Google Ads. So the question was, how do you justify the cost? You have to understand that concept. You really have to find a good agency too. We stand behind what we do. Ronnie's an excellent agency. Eric Eiling's a great agency in the junk removal space. I'm blanking on a couple others there. But you have to know that you're going into it for the long haul and be comfortable and able to track the numbers and the returns on how are the keyword rankings changing, how are the traffic numbers changing, that sort of thing. And you also have to be willing to put in the work, even if you're working with an agency. I will turn someone away. I did actually a couple weeks ago. He'd reached out to me a couple times before, tried out some different tactics in between. And he's like, all right, let's go. And I was like, man, you haven't done anything that I told you on the first two calls. So I can't help you. Like, come back to me when you start doing that stuff. Because we are turning up the heat on what you've already got going. I can't make heat from nothing. Again, you have to earn your spot to the top. And if you're not doing the stuff that helps me earn your spot to the top, or you're not doing your own thing to earn your way up there, then it's just not going to happen.
Well, you're a multiplier, right? So if they put in 0, there's your multiplier. They put in 1, there's your multiplier. They put in 10, you're the multiplier. So yeah, there is like for me, I create a lot of content. I do this show every week. I have a blog. I shoot content here. I was shooting content earlier today with a local news station. Like, yeah, you got to have something to amplify. When there's no message to amplify, you're not amplifying shit. So 2 things I wrote down quick. So I find that interesting that you say Google AdWords costs more over time. Mm-hmm. Because the no more I always had was the more I spend, I'm going to reduce my cost because I'm going to find my key. But you're right. As I spend more money,
so I can explain what I meant by that. Typically, when you start a campaign, it's the most expensive. It's going to be for a while, and then it does tend to, over a 90-day period, get your costs down typically. But over a year or two, what I've seen is costs have just continued to rise. More competition has come in. Google just keeps raising their prices on bidding, even if there isn't more competition, because they want to make more money. And so, 10 years ago, some of the stuff that you're bidding on now costs 2 cents, per click versus like $10 per click. That's a pretty dramatic increase.
Yeah. Okay. And then the second thing I wrote down, this is where I struggle. How do you know when your clients are coming in from an ad versus SEO?
Great question. So there's different ways to track it. We use What Converts. It's whatconverts.com, and you can basically hook it up to your website. They've got tracking numbers. You can also hook it up to your website forms, and it's going to tell you when the lead comes through from a form or from a call. It will tell you the page that it came from. It will tell you whether it came from PPC or organic, is what it calls it. And it will also tell you if it's organic, did it come in from DuckDuckGo, Bing, Google, your Google business profile.
Hold on, who uses Bing and DuckDuckGo? Let's
This is an interesting one. We see a lot of Bing ones come through, where it's increasing. If you're not on Bing, if you don't have a Bing listing, get over there and get that set up.
I'm right. This is the most. I've written 3 things down already this show. This is the most notes I've ever
we're gonna run you right out of pencils.
Mostly because out of the 6 buckets of business: marketing, sales, operation, the thing you do, resources that are human, and the numbers. Marketing is the bottom 3, and I would argue it's the bottomest of the bottom 3. Right? Sales, operation. How do I say? Numbers is 1, ops is 2, sales is 3. Actually, I would say numbers, sales, ops. Those are my things, right? And then it's the thing we do, banging out jobs, then resources that are human, and then marketing. So for me, the reason I'm writing notes down, when we're talking about banging jobs and like getting out there and running your ops, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I do. You know, like look at my chest. Here I'm like, fuck DuckDuckGo and Bing. And I'm like, oh, we need a Bing listing. All right, we got shit to do this week.
Yeah,
yeah.
You got to do that.
Whenever I get on a government computer, because I'm still in the military, Bing is always the default search browser. So I'm really good at going up, top right, click, change it. That's all I know.
I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it. Yeah. No, I hate it. But older people use it, and often because it's the default that's installed on Microsoft computers. Fair. And
every time I get animated, I also come out of focus. So I have to like go back here.
the camera's like, whoa.
Yeah, for anybody that's watching, like, why is Andy weirdly stretching his back? No, I'm letting the camera know that I'm eyes here, right now. The flag, right?
Yeah. But yeah, no, you can, if you don't have it set up, Bing may already have verified you on there, or at least have a listing, but you can verify it through pairing it with your Google business profile, actually, which is interesting that they have kind of a backdoor thing there. You can also, if you know of Google Search Console, if you don't, we can talk about it here in a bit, but Google Search Console, well, I'm going to talk about it.
I know what Google Search Console is. I didn't even know that Bing was still a thing. And you're asking me about a Google Search Console. That's awfully nice of you to think for a second. It was very sweet of you, Lewis. Very sweet.
I appreciate it. Yes. Yeah. Just here for the people. But Google Search Console is a free program or free software that's provided by Google. You need to have your website verified on there. And what it does is it tells you which pages are indexed on your site. So you could have 1,000 pages on your website that you've written, but if they're not indexed, they have no chance of showing up in Google search. Indexing is just like a library index. So you could get, 100 new books in your library, but until the, admin person puts it into the library index and then they're searchable in the index, it's exactly like that with Google. So you set Google Search Console up, you can then index your pages. You can, troubleshoot why some pages aren't indexing, but you can also see all the queries that people are using when they land on your site and which ones turn into clicks. So that's a really fun thing. But Bing has the same thing. It's called, and I'm blanking right now, but it's called Microsoft something. But yeah, anyway, Bing has a version of Search Console as well. So
Bing Places. Shout out Taylor. Shout out Taylor, our producer. He throws things in the chat that may or may not stick.
Bing Places is the equivalent of Google Business Profiles. Okay. And then Taylor, if you could shoot me the word, it is completely lost in my memory hole. But there is a equivalent of Google Search Console that Bing has as well. You can index your pages on there and make sure that they're showing up.
Taylor is our in-house AI Google button presser. So anybody that's been on the podcast will know that we have a chat and Taylor basically tells us what to say. Also, episode 72, Operator Spotlight was Jose Flores. There's no way I'm going to say that right. Anyways, yes. Jose. Now is it? Hold on. It's JOS. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Right on Junk Removal. That's what I know about the guy. He's dope. He's cool. Episode 72. So about a half an episodes ago. We're at 143, 142. Carry the one. Next week's episode. He'll be at the halfway of next week's episode because that's math.
Yes, Bing Webmaster Tools. Thank you, Taylor.
There we go. See, I told you I'd filibuster. Your screen jams out. We're waiting on Taylor for an answer, and I filibuster with random information that nobody asked for. Right? That's what I do. I'm the guy.
You're the man. Yeah. My camera keeps switching between the two, and it keeps turning itself off. So I'm not sure what's going on over here.
Well, you know what? Go with the camera that's your wife, because obviously the other one's not.
Is that what we're doing? Are we back to this analogy? We edit this after, right?
There's no editing. There was no way I was going to let that one go. I get it.
Yeah. Hey, you're going to remember it now. I think. I don't think people are going to forget it very soon. Actually, I'll polish up the analogy and make it work better.
So we are currently hiring for a content guru. That's the position we're calling it, content guru. Someone to come in and create content, and the goal is that the person will eventually be able to be a marketing manager and director of marketing for.
You got to make this required reading for them.
That's okay. That's what that's like, as I'm listening to that, I was like, oh, this is all the content, like answer the questions. And also that's why I'm writing so much stuff down. So like, as you're explaining it, the challenge I have is next week, I'll be doing second round interviews with people. And I'm gonna be like, what do you know about SEO and ads? Let me tell you what Lewis said. And then we have an HR complaint before we even have an employee. So shout out if you're in the Milwaukee area. This is a hybrid position, but more in office than not, or in the office, in the field, talking to the guys, going to networking event, being the brand, not brand ambassador. We wrote this down. Being the band. Hold on, let me get the right wording. So I said brand ambassador, and my business partner corrected me. You didn't like brand ambassador, brand manager, managing the brand, the voice of Camo Crew responsible junk removal. So for those of you that are in the Milwaukee area, they're looking for a dynamic job as a content guru with room to grow. Here at Camo Crew Responsible Junk Removal, you'll be creating content, making shit happen, driving up the SEO, and having a good time doing it, driving a sweet-ass Jeep. So that's my shout-out. Taylor's going to cut that up, put that on the internet. Also, while we're just having a good time, we're also looking for a logistics coordinator. So someone that's going to be primarily responsible for dispatching the trucks once they leave out in the morning, doing maintenance on the trucks, maintenance on the building, also all the warehouse tasks. So we got 27,000 square foot warehouse. Today we shipped out a 53-foot side full of electronics. We shipped out a 24-foot truck of donations. We ship out mattresses. We ship out clothes. We monitor and track MSW. We ship out scrap every week. So looking for a logistics coordinator to come in, make all this shit happen. So Milwaukee area, that's you. That's all the way. There's no remote hybrid part of it. You got to get your boots dirty. You got to walk the floor. You got to make shit happen all day, every day.
Turn the wrenches.
You got to turn the wrenches. You got to make the donuts. We don't just smell them. We don't watch them getting made. You got to get your hands in there. You also do estimates, probably bang some jobs every now and then because shit happens. Deliver trucks when we're running out of space. So that's the thing. There's the plug. There's the job. Logistics coordinator, Camo Crew responsible, junk removal, starting salary 40 to 45,000. Training we'll train you. We'll make you a fucking junk removal master here in the greater Milwaukee area. So someone wants to emigrate into Wisconsin, cross the state line, there we go. For our listeners, you want to come out and do junk removal the best, recycle better than anybody in the industry, this is the fucking place.
The place.
There we go. I did my 2 plugs. These plugs weren't even on the list. I don't have a list. As anybody knows, I do this show. I'm like, how do you say your last name? Cool. Hit record. That's
what makes it fun to listen to, Andy.
Yeah, but people are like, yeah, you know where you're going with this conversation? I'm like, do I? No, you don't fucking know because I don't know. I just say things. That
Come along for the ride. Hold the bull by the horns.
We went from wives and hookers to a couple of plugs to get some jobs because I know if I record this thing later, like after the show, I'll record some things every once in a while for Taylor. And I'm like, all right, what's the read? Okay. Hi, my name is Andy with Camo Crew Junk Removal, and we want you to join an amazing team, an exciting adventure here in the junk removal world. And I turn into this total cheese dick radio guy, you know? Yeah. So it's just like it's like an octave of, while that plug was like a half octave of, right? It's slightly above. You gotta get the attention. Get people excited. It's like when Dave Portnoy does a pizza review. You got to bring it up a level. The people are expecting. Hilarious. I love because you listen. It's like listen to him talk normal, and you listen to pizza reviews. There's an octave difference, a slight octave.
You got to listen when he's talking about pizza.
Oh, here's the thing. I don't eat pizza, and I've watched every pizza review. Like that's what I watch at dinner. Like when last 2 weeks ago, or around the holidays, he didn't do pizza reviews for like a week because he just gonna get caught up and da. How am I supposed to eat dinner without Dave Portnoy telling me? Yeah, without Portnoy telling me. Yeah, he had a 6-8 yesterday in Chicago. Well, not yesterday, but the video came out yesterday. And I've been to that pizza parlor pizza. And 6-8 is generous because he's a nice guy now. That's a 4-7. Back at asshole day, pre-pandemic Dave, that's a 4-7. Yeah. He said it was the blandest pizza he's ever had. So check it out. Today's the 28th. So the episode Portnoy came out El Presidente. Like he needs me to shout him out. Like Barstool Sports needs me to tell people about fucking pizza reviews. It's all right.
That's how they grow.
We shout people out everywhere here. Okay, that's what we do. I'm a nice guy. Backlinks. Hold on. I'm gonna get Dave Portnoy to backlink me in my show for giving him a shout out. Let's get to that topic. Backlinks. That's a thing with SEO.
Taylor should cut this out and then send it over to his team to post on their social media.
Yeah, 100% Taylor's going to do that. And 50-50 Portnoy loves it. I'm not like, idiot.
He'll give you a rating either way.
Oh, yeah, your podcast is a 2.3.
But backlinks, yeah. So we actually just...
Flavor.
No flavor, no personality, no language. Useless to listen to. But we just kind of touched on a way that you could get backlinks, right? Andy creates a piece of content, and then Dave shouts them out on social media. There's social media mentions. There's mentions on websites. Those are backlinks. So let's run through a few things you can do as a local junk removal business or any business to get backlinks. Jump on your Chamber of Commerce, as many as you can locally. They cost something, but you will also get networking out of it. So you're going to get a really solid backlink. Google loves Chambers of Commerce typically, and they also are great networking tools. So if you can, jump in there, get your website listed. It's going to cost you something. We typically look for the ones that are under like $200-300 a year for our clients. We'll put them on there. They'll pay for some of them, and then everybody's off to the races. You can also search for local directories. So in your city, in Milwaukee, there's guaranteed to be a bunch of local business directories, veteran-owned directories, Black-owned directories, regular business owner directories in the area. You can submit your website to that. You can do a little write-up. You can put some pictures on there, and boom, you now have a directory that is featuring your business and your website, pointing back to your website. You can reach out to your friends that are business owners and say, hey, can I write a blog post for you? Can I do a video review for you? Can I do, any number of these things and have you posted on your website? So let's say it's a realtor. You could write a blog post on the top 5 things to think about before you move. And you could, go into ChatGPT, get some ideas, and then use it to flesh out the ideas and then write the blog, the rest of the blog post or edit the blog post. And one of those things is going to be clean the junk out. Make sure it's ready to be listed. Make sure your yard's clean. Make sure that, there's not stuff everywhere. And if you're looking for a junk removal company, call Camo Crew.
Camo Crew, responsible junk removal at 414-420-2266. Or you can visit us on the web at camocrew.us. That's right, camocrew.us. Got clutter? Call the crew. Camo Crew.
That one went an octave lower. I like that one. That was radio voice.
Yeah. You know what? I recorded my book, and I had to unlearn everything I knew about talking, which was a lot because I do a lot of fucking talking, to a point where like our second review we ever got on this podcast was someone telling me that I talk too much. I interrupt Casey, and we swear a lot.
That's what made it so fun, actually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Here's the deal. The first 10 episodes, you like no fucking clue what you're doing. So it's like you can just take those ones out back and shoot them in the face. And then the first 100 episodes, you're like kind of figuring it out. And I'm doing my second podcast. I'm on episode, I don't know, about 63, 65 today, right before this. And I was like, man, I felt like I had a good episode. And the first 50 were not great. Like, it was like, oh, I think I finally had a good one right after about 50, 60 episodes. This show here, right when we were at 100 episodes, like, oh, we're getting a rhythm. That's when Casey left the show. So I restarted. Like, I'm like maybe 50 episodes into it on my own. So I'm like, let's figure this shit out again. And here's the beautiful thing. I can't interrupt Casey when he's not on the show. So fuck you, 2-star review.
It's all over.
Let's talk about reviews. How to see? Look at this. I'm mixing it. I'm having a therapy session and bringing it back to SEO. Let's talk about how reviews impact SEO. I fucking know shit.
Reviews are a way to earn your way to the top as well. So not only are we are a review-driven society. Amazon, shows, books. Nobody buys anything without reading the reviews, and they're not going to. Why would they purchase your services without reading the reviews? So get reviews. Go crazy about getting reviews and keep getting them, and then reply to the reviews as soon as they come in. I'm talking specifically about Google, but Yelp, etc. Any chance that gives you an opportunity to reply to the reviews, shout them out on your social media, reply to them. Google or whatever platform you're on allows you to do that, and also they can see your interaction there. So if you have 2,000 reviews and the other company has 300, even if they're ranking higher than you, you're going to beat them out on the call. Someone's going to call you before they call the other company.
1577. That's what I currently have. And I typed in here. Here's funny. I typed in mine. The top ad under Camo Crew junk removal is when I typed in Camo Crew junk removal. The top ad that pops up is college hunks. Right. I'm the second ad, and then I'm the top one, obviously, for the SEO part, because I typed in Camo Crew junk removal. Yep. Also my Yelp page, and then it goes Yelp, Better Business Bureau, Nextdoor, and then my own LinkedIn, and then actually the MBA or MMAC, the Metropolitan Milwaukee Association of Commerce, and then TMJ4, which is a local news outlet. So yes, go ahead, say words.
I'm going to swing it back to backlinks then, because Yelp, LinkedIn, Better Business Bureau, those are all excellent backlinks, excellent places for you to get your business out there and have them linking back to you. So you search your business, and you search directly for your brand. So I'd hope that you're ranking for that. But the opportunity to take up more than one spot on the homepage is there if you're really active on Facebook, you post on Yelp, you're active on your LinkedIn page and getting traction and getting engagement on there too. You can take over a whole homepage. I've seen it before. We did it with Integrity here locally. It's possible, and it's fun, and that's how you really win. It's not just getting one keyword to rank number one. It's how can you be everywhere.
I'm writing this down. I actually wrote down Yelp and DuckDuckGo because, again, I'm going to have a conversation with our marketing team. So we are in between. We had marketing companies the last basically 2.5 years, and now we're going in-house. And so these are the things that's like the right questions to ask with these interviews. What experience do they have? And then also whether we bring in, and that's why I ask selfishly if you do mentoring or coaching, because that would be interesting to have you come in.
Certainly open to
teach
it.
Us, right. Yeah. Teach us the playbook, for a 6-month, 1-year period, because what I'm not going to do is do nothing. Right. Or I'm going to bring someone in and fuck it up. Right. And if there's when there's an opportunity to say, hey, come in, teach my people to do the things, right. It's high margin for you because it's your time and you're not having to press all the buttons. And actually, it's more, it's you can charge a premium for your time because it's not the full, assessment of your team.
It's knowledge work more than actually doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, I make more money consulting than I do junk removal. I can make a lot of money consulting hourly because I can give you a lot more value in an hour, right? I mean, pulling your couch to the basement is one thing. Teaching you how to grow your business from 250, 300 to $1 million in 2 years, like that's worth a hell of a lot more.
Yep. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, certainly open to chatting about it. But yeah, there's softwares too that allow teams to take more control, and having someone in person who really dives in, they're always going to do a better job than an agency if they know how to do it. So they're always going to know your brand and the stuff that you're doing. At which point they can write blogs, they can answer the questions. Like they see you guys, sending a truckload of mattresses away. Boom, there's like a blog post or two around what happens to my mattresses after you take them. Where do mattresses get recycled, et cetera. All the different things that you could be doing, and they're just going to be there on the front lines, taking content, making content, and then there's some software that I could show your team to help you with the SEO. So there's a lot of fun stuff that can be done if a team is willing to do the work.
Well, and that's what's of interest, what that looks like.
Yeah.
Or what is it, right? If I bring in somebody that doesn't have the knowledge or ability or adaptability or desire, right? What is it for having a third party person do it? Because it's very technical, right? Versus content, which is more creative. There's a different vein.
Yeah. A couple different avenues to take it for sure. And Taylor said talk too much, didn't let Casey talk.
Yeah, that's what you literally we're like, hey, give us reviews, and like our third review was that. Our Dan's Holloway, what made you switch from hiring an agency to run your own ads to building in-house team? The biggest difference is the agencies locally. We had a small agency that works home services exclusively, good people, but there was no creativity. I would go to them with ideas. There was no creativity, and they weren't in-house. So they weren't completely embedded into our team. So there was a distance there. And then we brought in another agency that was going to grow us and bigger. And again, it was an account manager. It wasn't truly something on our team. And I'm in the Bolt Accelerator with the guys who are at 505 Junk Removal. Barry, fellow Canadian, # Canadians are awesome. No big deal. And he was talking about his company and how he has an in-house marketing team. Now, Barry does about $5 million in top line revenue. So he's able to do an in-house marketing team. And so in-house marketing team, you sacrifice diversity of skill sets. However, you have cost savings because now they're going to give you 40, 50 hours a week versus 40, 50 hours a month. Yeah. And so I'm building a $5 million a year junk removal company. So a $2 million junk removal company, which is where we finished last year, agency, a $5 million company has a team. So we're looking to build that first key person, have them grow within the organization, supplement them, right? Maybe we'll have someone else to do AdWords. Maybe we'll have someone else to do SEO, and they're mostly content brand manager blogs, right? The ones that are actually making the donuts with a little bit of support from others. And then either that person or a team, we'll probably have a team of 3 people in marketing. When I think about a $5 million company, it's probably a team of 3, kind of someone more of a strategic level, someone that's a button presser, and then someone that's more content or even intern level. And so that's where we're going. So it really comes down to somebody on the team. That's the starting point. With an agency, they were never bought in. We have a third party HR guy. He's a director of HR. He's third party, and he acts more fractional than like an agency. So he's our guy. He's just not full time. And that's also how I operate. I'm a fractional CFO. So I come into your business anywhere from 2 to 10 hours is a bit of a stretch, but probably 2 to 5 hours a month. I have some clients that are 10 hours the first couple months to get, because there's a lot of work to be done. I come in 2 to 5 hours a month and I'm all in. I'm in the meeting. I know what's going on. I have access to the numbers. I'm talking to the leadership team throughout the month. My assistant, has access to QuickBooks so we can look at things, right? I'm on your team versus, hey, I'm your financial advisor, or I'm a guy that knows about finance, and occasionally I give you some distance and direction. That's what the difference is. When we had a marketing team, it's like they were over here and I wanted them really embedded into our organization. And the other thing is it comes down to what ceiling I have, because when my ceiling's low and my capacity is low, I'd rather have a marketing company that just takes and keeps it off my mind, because I know now when I have to bring in, or I get to bring in an in-house person. Now it's part of my job to train, coach, mentor them, give them some direction, and also, inspect what I expect. So inspect the work product to make the work product work. And so like SEO is a prime example. That's why I'm being very transparent here with Lewis. Like if they said, I did a good job with SEO, I'd be like, cool. Do we have a Bing listing? They'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, all right, we did the thing, right? My ceiling's relatively low. Like, did we do the minimum thing? Yep, we did the minimum thing. I couldn't tell you if it's great or terrible, right? When it comes to junk removal, operations, banging jobs, I got a pretty good idea. Comes to sales, I got a pretty good idea. Marketing, I struggle there. So then I supplement the marketing person with consultants, people that are more on strategy, people that can train them and me, and then my business partner, Andrew, on what does right look like. So now we can say, oh, we are or we not hitting the mark. People ask me all the time, like, what's a good percentage of disposal, right? Industry average is 6 to 8%. So anybody that's 5% or below on disposal cost, you're killing it. Anybody that's more north of 10%, that sucks, right? You ask COGS, right? 40%. I like to say under 35%. I would love to get my company under 33%, right? I know these numbers. If you said, what's my conversion rate on a Google ad? I don't fucking know. I Google it, right? And so in that regard, one of the challenges that we're going to have with this new marketing person is there's going to be a learning curve for my business partner and I. So whether we go out and learn it organically through trial and error, whether we research it educationally, or we go hire someone smarter than us to tell us the answer. Like, I'm a fractional CFO. I give people the answers. I'm all about hiring smart people. I got a business coach. I have EOS in our business. Like I spend a lot of money every year on educating our team to going after what you were saying. It's an investment in my future. When I spend $5,000-$10,000 for a 2-day session to get our team smart, I'm not seeing $10,000 the next day. However, that $10,000 I'm going to see after the year. I'll make it up in a year, and I'll start making profit on that $10,000 put into training over a year's time. And so again, SEO is that slow organic growth. Education is slow and organic growth. And the new marketing person that's going to come in and be a content guru, it's going to be slow and organic growth. And I'm playing for the 5-year play, not I need the phone to ring tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's a long answer. So, good question, though. Shout out
really
Dan's
good
Holloway.
question. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting on the podcast Wednesday, tomorrow.
What's tomorrow?
He's coming on. We're chatting on my podcast.
Nice. Was I on your podcast? Did that
I was just trying to think about that. You should be. I've kind of rebirthed it. So I used to have it kind of as a networking podcast and bringing on cool guests, etc. I've rebranded it as Marketing Without Rules, and I started again at episode 0. But it's the people that are out there hustling and doing the things that need to be done so that you don't need an agency is essentially what it is. I saw too many people sitting on their hands and being like, oh, leads suck. It's like, well, what are you doing? Get out there and do the work.
We grew the business to 1.5 million without an agency, right? And then it was once I got around 2, I'm like, all right, we need an agency to sustain, because we weren't doing a lot of things that were sustainable. It's like, oh, throw it against the wall. Oh, that worked. All right, throw this against the wall. All right, that worked. So we did a lot of the shit in house. And that's the challenge. Like a lot of junk world companies, they get stuck between 500 and a million. And the next sticking point is about 2 million. Yeah. And so I'm at that. I've done 2 million about 3 years in a row here in some capacity. We had another division, but so we're on 2 million, and I want to get to 5 million. In order for me to do that, we got to do things different. And so, and that's why I have some customers, people I talk to, like, oh, we didn't spend any money on marketing last year. And like, they had like a 1.75% spend customer acquisition costs. It's like, well, that's fucking great. Yeah. What would have happened if we would have spent 5%? Like, doubled your revenue? I mean, it's significant. Like, yeah, referrals are great. Repeat business is great. A little bit of word of mouth is great. What would have happened if we had just spent a little bit, 1,000 hours a month on Google Ads, another 500 to 1,000 hours a month on SEO? Right? Had we spent, $24,000 on the year, 100,000 is a break-even point for me, right? 5x return. I'd argue we get 10x, if not 15x return on a very simple initiative, spending $2,000 a month on SEO and AdWords, right? And I know that because we do those things and we see it. And I also know when we're not paying attention to our SEO, we notice that since we left our agency and we're now kind of self-performing, we've been just a little more. It's been a little more fickle, if you will. So I'm all about bringing somebody on. I want somebody in our company where they're fucking looking at it every day. Where I'm like, oh, it's on fire. Let me go put out the fire. We need someone that's stoking the fire and putting the right fires in the right places.
I've got a couple of really inexpensive courses. I didn't make them, but really inexpensive courses from guys that I follow. Shoot me a message. I'll send them over as well. But yeah, I'd love to have you on the podcast. Taylor said, you can talk about operations and et cetera. There's some interesting stuff there. I found it very interesting, your prioritization of what was important, because mine would be a bit different, but I think we both probably play to our strengths a little bit. And prioritize a bit based on the things that we've focused on. But no, that would be fun. We should do it. I'll send you the link after this to book in. Cool.
All right. Let's get to the big finish here. We're right almost at the top of the hour here. Let's talk about this actually flew by. I was like, oh, we got like 15 more minutes. No, we don't. It was a very simple strat. I endorsed you as the SEO guy of the junk mail world. I mean, what are we doing? You just fucking slap that on your fucking website. That's gonna hold some weight. Yeah. I mean, it's like I gotta go do some homework to make sure I can live up to it now. Well, I mean, it's self-proclaimed. I mean, and if one other person says it, it's true. That's it. That's so right. Talk to me. What was your top takeaway today?
My top takeaway is that we need to keep. You want me to tell you what?
I'm in the middle of a podcast, and one of my guys is handing me something from a job site. There we go. All right,
that's the life.
These guys, they got 90 minutes a week. They got no respect. That's why at the end of the show, I'm like, I'm gonna go downstairs. So I'm upstairs for anybody that's been in our building, and then downstairs where the boys are. We're a bunch of fucking boys. We're a bunch of idiots. And so like up here, I'm like, responsible podcaster guy, and then downstairs, I'm fucking drinking decaf coffee and talking shit. I mean, it's just yeah. So, anyways, I fucking
you're degenerate.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When people, and I'm gonna lean because my back hurts. When people talk about like, why do you get in this industry, or why, I was doing some content today about how I got started and why I do it. I love it. Like, I love it when the guys come back. Like yesterday, did a 10 trailer job. Got back late. It was cold. It's like, let's go. Let's unload. We had 3 box trucks to unload. So they unloaded 1 and then 2 more today because it worked out that way. And man, we're just cutting up with the boys. It's like freezing ass cold, 6 o'clock at night. And it's like our first late night in months. Like in the summer, it's like you got back at 6 o'clock. All right, part-timer, but just cutting up with the boys. Like the fact that they're like, we don't give a shit you're doing a podcast. Like, we're gonna fucking come here and talk shit. It's like, all right, yeah, talk shit.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Yes. No, this was fun, Andy. Good to catch up. We'll definitely have to have you on the show as well. That'll be a good one because I was trying to rack my brain. So
yeah, top takeaway. What was your top takeaways from today's show?
Focus on the basics. Focus on doing the things that a customer needs. Don't worry about Google. Of course, there's some stuff. We talked about backlinks. We talked about making sure you're on DuckDuckGo and Bing. But focus on what your customer wants and just go do that. Go pick up Marcus Sheridan's book, They Ask You Answer. If everybody read that book, the industry would be a better place. There'd be a lot less awful looking websites, and people would get more answers, and they would buy more things from you.
I really appreciate it. There's very rarely do we talk about books on the show. I'm a huge fan of books, right? It's a $15, $20 investment, 5-6 hours of your time, whatever it is. That investment, I would argue, 5 hours of a good book is better than listening to me for fucking 5 hours, right? Because I'm all over the damn place, right? While a book, they talk about one thing and they go deep and it's actionable.
Andy, I would really recommend you get the book and read it or listen to it, because it goes through like.
Oh no, I'm doing it. Like here,
it actually has a hiring section in there. So like how to hire your marketing person. He's got ideas about video and all that.
What is it going to answer the questions?
They ask you answer by Marcus Sheridan. Taylor will hook you up.
Ask. I know Taylor already wrote. No, I'm buying it. Just like I added Homeboy on LinkedIn. I got the ADDs. So it's $0. Audible $0. You can pick it up for $0. Hardcover, $63. $63.
100% worth it.
Wait, is it only come in hard copy? No soft copy? So soft cover? What is it? Coffee? Hard
I don't love hardcover either, but it's a nice hardcover.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can go audio, CD, Kindle. There you go. $17. $17. Buy now. So the other day, my business partner Andrew was like, "Hey, have you ever heard of this book, Vivid Vision?" I go, "Oh yeah, I have it somewhere." He goes, "Really?" I go, "Oh yeah." And I found it in my house. Like I looked on Amazon, bought it 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'll do that sometimes. Have I bought this book before? Look at my bookshelf. Like,
I know. I actually, a lady that was interviewing me today, she came upstairs. She goes, "It smells like a library up here." I go, "That might be the greatest compliment I've ever received." Like,
that's awesome.
I'm an astute individual. Actually, I sent this to I'm writing my third book. I'm writing with this guy, and it's called Phrases Fucking Matter. And one of the phrases I said was, "Boys have man caves, men have libraries." That fucking slaps.
That. Yeah,
that fucking slaps. Anyways, all right. Top takeaway for me today. I like the idea that you fired your potential customer. Like that's the key here, ladies and gentlemen. We get to decide who our customers are, and I love the fact that you said that because you're like, hey, SEO is not you pay me, I make it happen. Like I need to know what you're doing different. I need pictures. I need blog. I need thought leadership from you in the field. And when you're not willing to do the basics on day one, I will fail. Right. And this is a lesson that applies to life. It's no different than your employees. When you're not investing in your employees, right? When you're giving them a 0 or a 1 or a 2, and you expect them to move mountains, not going to happen. You're going to show up for your employees. We're on a scale of 1 to 10. When you're giving them 7, 8, 9 every day, what are they showing up with? 7, 8, 9? You got some big numbers. We're in the 50s, 60s, 70s. If they're showing up as a 6 or 7 and you're giving 2, 3 effort, you're living in the 20s. And so that's the key. I love that when you talk about that, right? Relationships are a two-way street. You gotta have two numbers that multiply. And so that goes anything in life, and especially here in SEO. You're the business owner. You own the business. You decide, right, what you want the world to look like. You decide what success is to you, and then you decide what work you want to put in to match that. Because the inverse is you're no better off than you were a year ago. The inverse is you stop investing in yourself because you think you fucking made it. The inverse is you complain that your competitor or someone else down the street got farther and faster than you did when you weren't willing to put the work in. So that's what I took away. And you got the right to fire anybody, which I'm a huge fan of. So no, appreciate that. Thank you, Lewis. Any last words for our listeners before we get out of here? Also, how can they find you? How can they talk about your podcast real quick, or talk about what you sell? All the things.
Marketing Without Rules. I mean, the last thing you just said is very, it lines up right with the podcast. Get out there and stop complaining and do the work. Go find the podcast. I think that's the newest venture for us is Marketing Without Rules. You can search my name. It's very SEO friendly. I think I'm the only Lewis Vandervalk out there, an English first name and a Dutch last name. So go find me, reach out if you need help, and I'd be happy to provide what I can.
And I can speak on Lewis' behalf. When he was on the show last time, I have reached out to him a few times, talked about SEO, understanding what he does. People on the groups are going to say what they say. Obviously, he's in business for a reason. So for those of you that are struggling with SEO or they want to grow their business and scale it, give Lewis a shout. Endorsed here by the Trash Talk Business Podcast. All right. I'm Andy. He's Lewis. Taylor's in the back room as our producer. Thank you to everybody joining us here. Thank you for the guests, Lewis, for being on. Thanks, Dan, for a great question there.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. And thanks to all of our listeners that continue to support us here on Trash Talk Business Podcast. Next week, we have a fan favorite. The man that quit his job because he was on our podcast in episode 13, right? That was those episodes again that we still didn't know what the fuck we were doing. He was on our podcast on like Thursday, quit his job on Friday, started in junk removal on Monday. Tracy's coming on. He was first on our guest June of 2022. He was on again in February of 23. So it's been 2 years since we talked to Tracy. So he went from, I'm going to quit my job and do junk removal, to I'm going to do demolition. So then he was going remediation. I haven't talked to the guy in 2 years. He still wants to be on the show. So hopefully he's still gainfully unemployed and doing his own thing. So Tracy's coming up on the show next week. We are doing, for the live listeners, next week is going to be at 4 o'clock on the 4th. And then special announcement, special show, 10 o'clock, February 11th. That's the Tuesday, 10 o'clock show we're doing with our boy Casey Walsh from Stand Up Guys Junk Removal. He's one of the top guys in the industry, well regarded across the industry. People don't talk shit about him like they do some other people. He's a great guy. I'm excited. Been 2 years in the making to have him on the podcast. So that'll be February 11th, 10 a.m. If you or someone you know wants to be a guest on the Trash Talk Business Podcast, go to trashtalkbusinesspodcast.com. I'm really thankful because, again, back in June, I talked about sunsetting the podcast and letting it go. So as long as I get guests, we'll keep the podcast going. And now we have guests weeks and even months out in advance, which is great. It shows the health of our industry. It shows the engagement. It shows that we have an abundance mindset in this industry versus a scarcity mindset. So on behalf of Taylor, Lewis, and myself, thank you for joining us on another week of the Trash Talk Business Podcast. We will see you next week. Bye now.
Thanks for listening. Tap subscribe or follow to get the latest episode. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a review and tell a friend to listen. To learn more, visit trashtalkbusinesspodcast.com. Bye now.